Let's talk about this charge controller. This is a Felicity 120 amps Mppt solar charge controller. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys both an unboxing and giving us an idea of why this charge controller might be the best in the market. A lot of people are going to differ on that, but I'm going to give you the reasons why I love this solar charge controller. Now, this is not my charge controller, and I am planning to buy one for myself because of the things I've seen because I need this charge controller. And of course, the first catch for me is the power that it packs. The amount of solar panels I have on my roof requires me to use a lot of solar charge controllers before now. But with this charge controller here, that story could change. So I'll be talking about that more. Let's go about opening the box of the charge controller. That's me opening the charge controller. The first thing you see is the user manual. This manual tells you just about everything you need to know about the charge controller. For some part, you read manuals and sometimes you get even more confused after reading them. This is the fisher and the screws I used to hang it on the wall. Sometimes we just troubleshoot instead of going through the manual, but I still advise you to go through the manual. No matter how terrible the English is, you're still going to pick one or two things from inside. Maybe the maximum voltage that you can fit the charge controller with. Those are going to be in the manual, of course. So it's just good to scan through the manual regardless. Always try your best. Even if it's one or two things you can pick, at least that will be clear to you. I was expecting that the charge controller was going to be bigger because of the amps that it packs, but somehow technology and everything, I was surprised actually. Let's put it that way, because most other charge controllers of this 120 amps, in fact the previous version was much bigger than this, so I was quite surprised with this one. Just to give us a rough idea of what this charge controller is going to be doing, this house where I'm installing it, they're going to be using 22 300 watts solar panel, and all of them are going to be connected to this charge controller. That's to give you an idea of how much power that this charge controller can hold. A time was when the highest charge controller I was using was 60 amps, and the reason is very simple. Most people don't get to use more than 5-10 solar panels, maximum maybe about 12 solar panels. But today you are going to see people that have up to 20-30. For instance, now my solar panel count is about 40 something, about 44 or so. So that's to give you an idea of how big these charge controllers are going to be getting, because people are going to be needing this one charge controller that can hold practically all the panels they have on their rooftop. Talking about the things to look out for in this charge controller, the things I call my catch, the pros of this charge controller. The first things first is always the charging current. I have a lot of solar panels, and buying this charge controller is going to help reduce the amount of charge controllers I'm going to be needing. Having two of this one should carry well over 50 solar panels of the kind that I have. It's a no-brainer. If I can get it, that would be perfect. I'm already planning to get it anyways. Now, talking about the cost, if I'm trying to do a rough calculation on the dollar cost of this charge controller, that will put it at about $150. And if you were buying 12 60 amp charge controllers, you're going to be spending at least $200 getting it. So as far as the cost is concerned, I think for the cost, this is one of the best charge controllers you can get. The other thing to look out for is the polarity protection. If, for instance, I mistakenly connect the positive to the negative and the negative to the positive from the battery terminals, it's not going to affect this charge controller. Although whatever you do, make sure you don't. Even if you are sure it's not going to have any problems, I don't recommend you making that mistake of connecting positive to negative and negative. So, but altogether, you are safe with this charge controller if you connect it that way. The other thing that got me fascinated about the charge controller, I don't think I saw it in the manual because I didn't really read the manual very well before I used it. I went to install with this charge controller, and for some reason the charging current wasn't going past 11, even though there was sun, and I knew I was supposed to be getting way over 60 amps from the charge controller. So at the end of the day, I began to kind of troubleshoot because it was rather strange. The sun was shining and the charging current just couldn't go past 11 amps. So having checked the settings and everything, I began to realize that you can set the current with which this charge controller charges your battery, and that's a very huge one. Because if, for instance, I want to charge just one battery off of my many solar panels, assuming maybe 20 solar panels or the 22 that is being used here, I don't need to start reducing the panels so that I will not overcharge the battery. Rather, I can just set the charging current, and at the end of the day, that's all. the charging current will take care of the battery, because some batteries, if you overcharge them, you can very well say goodbye to that battery if you put too many amps, or at least it's on its way to getting dead. So that's one very fascinating feature concerning this charge controller. From 10 amps through to the 120 amps, you can set it on any amps and it will not go beyond it. I was impressed when I saw that feature was in the charge controller. Then the other thing is, most charge controllers, they have this beauty about them, but this one is just something I also like. The color, everything about it. Those are the things that are making me plan to buy this charge controller as we speak. Now, going on to the things that I don't really like about this charge controller, they are not much, but I have to still tell you guys. So there are 3 things. The first things first is that the terminals, if you look at the under, it doesn't have an output DC that you can connect from this charge controller. So if I wanted to connect maybe a 12-volt bulb or a DC appliance directly from this charge controller, I cannot do that. That's a limiting factor for me for the charge controller, because a lot of my charge controllers, I just have a way of connecting something. I have one connected to a DC freezer, some of them to bulb lights and everything. This one, I'm not going to have that connected on this one because it doesn't have the port for it. Then the second thing, I expected it to have a fan, especially with the size, so that the charging current, when it's very high, I believe this is going to get hot, but the heat sink at the back of it is durable, so I want to believe that they tested it and they know that it's okay. But I still believe that it should have had a fan, 1 or 2 inside of it, so that any excess heat, it will push it out. The PV voltage for this solar charge controller is 170. The minimum I would have expected it to be supposed to be about 250, then 300 would have been a very perfect place to put the PV voltage. So what that means is that if I sum up the total voltage of the panels I'm putting on this charge controller, it should not go past the 170 that is on the manual. I would have expected them to push it to at least 300 volts. That way you can connect a lot of solar panels in series, and the size of the wire you're going to be needing will now be small. These are things I'll be talking about in a future video where I'm going to call it like a tear down. I'm not necessarily going to open the charge controller, but I'm going to demonstrate most of the things I'm telling you guys about, how to set the charge controller and everything. I hope you guys are looking forward to that video. Like I always say, it's better to know as much as you can about the product before you buy. So that's what this channel is about. I try to let people know what to expect, and of course, if there's anyone I don't also know, I'll put it out there. Then in the comment section, I expect you guys to also let me know what you know about it, because there's a port under the charge controller which you are seeing right now. Of course, I've read about it in the manual to monitor temperature sensor and other things, but I have not really used it. So you guys can let me know in the comment section below. I'm not shy in letting people know I don't know something, because at some point we are all learning. Let me know in the comment section below if you know what that port does, if you've used it before. I would like to know how it works. If you're looking for a charge controller to buy, this may be the charge controller you are looking to buy, especially if you're looking to add solar panels to what you already have. If you have a solar system and you're planning to upgrade, so it's better to have this big one, and you just be stacking your solar panels on this same charge controller. So the person I installed this one for had 12 solar panels before now. I just went to add 10 solar panels to it, so I didn't need to change the charge controller. So think about the money. Save some money from not buying another solar charge controller. So see you guys and catch you on the next one.